Rather you just wear what you're wearing, which is fine with me. And if you can carry with you the principles of religion in your heart and make that into character, then that is more. That's why Bhagavatam stresses, it is not the dress that matters. It is not the externalities that matter. Finally, in life, for us to be peaceful, it is whether internally we are practicing that which we teach. That is very important. So Kali, who is this personality, is shocked. Shocked that Parikshit Maharaj has caught up with him. Parikshit Maharaj gets out of the chariot. He prepares to take up this sharp sword and he's ready to kill Kali. But now something changes. When the personality of Kali understood that the king was willing to kill him, up till then Kali was just rampant in the kingdom. Nobody dared to oppose him. What does he do? He abandons the dress of a king and he becomes pressured out of fear. He falls at the feet of King Parikshit Maharaj and he bows his head. In Kshatriya code, in warrior code, right? A king would never seek to harm or kill or maim or injure or arrest someone who has become helpless in front of him and who has surrendered to him. It is the code of chivalry which was not only in Vedic culture of India but even in the Renaissance period of Europe. Same culture. They had the same idea. If you read Chinese history, for those of you who did history, you'll find that this was also part of their code, that they cannot touch someone who is unarmed. Here was an enemy who deserved to be killed. But when he realized that he had bargained more than he could handle in front of Parikshit Maharaj, Kali very smartly drops everything and he falls at the feet of Parikshit Maharaj. What is Parikshit Maharaj? Parikshit Maharaj is an exalted king. He is also noble and he is also forgiving. His heart melts, and even though he was ready to kill Kali, he accepted the surrender of this personality. And after surrendering, he smiled compassionately. He smiled compassionately. Now, what does he say to Kali? Because there was still the situation where he had to stop Kali from continuing what he was doing. So Parikshit Maharaj tells Kali, my dear Kali, you have performed terrible things in my kingdom. You must now leave my kingdom. You are lucky that I am making you leave it alive. Leave it now and you will not come back, because you are a friend of all the principles that I oppose. But Kali says, if I leave your kingdom, my lord, where will I go? Every corner of this world is part of your kingdom. Where will you banish me to? Banish me to a place where I can stay, my lord, and that I will not disturb you or the other people. Give me a place where I can stay. And Parikshit Maharaj thinks, and he says, alright, then you do one thing. I understand that wherever you stay, there will always be qualities which will be disturbing. There will be greed where Kali is. There will be falsehood where he is. There will be robbery. There will be incivility. There will be treachery. There will be misfortune, cheating, quarrel. And most of all, there will be vanity. Vanity. So Parikshit Maharaj says, if that is the case, you find a part of my kingdom where you have all these qualities, then you please stay there. Parikshit Maharaj, Kali says, my dear Lord, you are such an amazingly spiritual king, such a wonderful exalted devotee, that I have travelled all your kingdom and I have not found a single quality where I can stay, a single place which holds these qualities. So again I ask you, where can I go? I can't go anywhere. And finally, the king permits him to stay where four things occur. Where there is gambling, Kali, you will be there. Where there is drinking, you will be there. Where there is prostitution, you will be there. Wherever there is the slaughter of innocent animals, you will be there. Kali comes up to him and says, you have narrowed down your choices, my lord, but still, I cannot find these places in your kingdom. So find me a place where I can stay. I am your subject, and I also, like everything else, must be allowed to stay. And Parikshit Maharaj, being the compassionate king, then says, very well, wherever there is gold, wherever there is desire for material opulence, wherever there is desire for material prosperity in such a manner that there is forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord, you please be there. And when Kali heard this, he realized then that he had a place to live. Because Bhagavatam tells us, wherever there is gold, and gold means wherever there is material prosperity, the chances and the opportunities for other principles of Kali, they are always there. There is always a higher chance that you will find these in such places. And having said all that, and discussed everything, Kali left and he took permission to stay in all the places where there are all these properties. Parikshit Maharaj, in banning Kali, he did one thing that is very important. He established for us a basic code of morality. Sometimes we speak so much of spiritual life, but we do not realize that spiritual life cannot begin until we are on the ground. Bhagavatam must equal to behavior. How many of us have heard this common man, and all of us are common men, how many of us have heard these arguments where people become so disillusioned with religion, with temples, with places of worship, even with God, for the simple reason that they say, look, what is the point of going to all these places? What's the point of prayers? What's the point of reading all these sastras? When people come out of these places and their behavior is anything but that of a devotee. It is better to be a good person first, and then you think about being a spiritual person next. That's very important. And that is why in today's world, people get tired of what we claim to be sadhus and saints, because they say, better to be a good person. Now, this is not wrong, and this is found in Bhagavatam. The starting steps towards understanding how we can escape death is in good behavior in this life. That is the key. And good behavior is defined in Vedic culture as these four principles, regulated principles, basic morality. And that is what Parikshit Maharaj did. So the conclusion to this aspect of Parikshit Maharaj's life is very simple. Whenever we are attracted to good behavior, and whenever we are attracted to principles that make us good people and do not cause disturbance to others to the best of our ability, you please know that Kali is not next to you. But when you have the capacity to disturb others and cause trouble, pain and hurt, then you have broken the religious principles, the regulated principles. And at that point of time, Kali sits next to you, unseen, unheard, and yet you are practicing exactly what he has advocated. So this is the point that Parikshit Maharaj brought to our lives, that it is more important to start with basic character than to be in the sky and pose as a very spiritual person. We come to the next aspect of life of Parikshit Maharaj, which is now going to be very, very testing. How many of you in your lives have been tested by life itself? I'll take it that everyone who's put your hands down is agreed with me. Because if I find someone here who has not been tested by life, you probably are dead. You're not tested. Everybody has been tested in life. Even now as I speak, I don't know how many of you are being tested, even at the moment. Maybe your patience is being tested. When is it going to finish? Maybe you're thinking, when is the next stage of your life going to start? Maybe you have assignments on your head. Maybe you have so many things on your mind. Maybe you're undergoing a period of crisis. The fact is, testing of our lives can occur anytime. And sometimes it seems to occur for a lifetime. That's the worst part of it. In Parikshit Maharaj's life, the testing of his life now comes. And it comes in the form of a great, powerful change in his lifestyle. Up till now, Parikshit Maharaj is a blessed king, leading a blessed life. He was touched by the mercy of the Lord before he was born. He faced death and conquered it before he was born. When he was born, he became the greatest king, exalted devotee that the world had known. when he saw that Kali was entering into his kingdom, he tried his best with compassion to keep Kali out. And while he was there, Kali could not enter into the kingdom. But now, we find that Parikshit Maharaj is about to face the greatest test of his life. And that is why this verse is very important. Tatte nukampam sushamikshamano bunjana evadma kritam vipakam vidvagva purvir vidadan namaste jivetayo mukti padasedayava. That's the translation of this verse, 10:48. Brahmaji, as you can see here, prays to Krishna. And what he says is very practical for all of us. If we ever must have a prayer that we want to use to approach the Lord, you should keep this prayer. Why? Because Brahmaji says here, my dear Lord, one who waits for you to give your mercy, he waits very patiently. Whenever he suffers in this world, he does not blame others for his suffering. He doesn't blame God, he doesn't blame his mother, father, mother-in-law, father-in-law, doesn't blame his children, doesn't blame life, he doesn't blame the weather, doesn't blame the LD, doesn't blame anyone. What he does when he's faced with a challenge in life is that he just takes it as it is a reaction of my past mistakes. It's my defect. I am put in this position because it is my fault. I've done something wrong and therefore I deserve what I get. When you do that, you know what happens to you? The buck stops with you. If you start the blame game when you're in difficulty, you'll find there's no end to it. You blame everyone, everyone blames you, and there is no peace. But when someone constructively looks at himself and says, alright, other people may be there, it may be the result of many things, people may be there for us to be blamed, but better I don't waste my time. Better I look at my defects, and better I take that on my head, and I accept it as my fault. The moment a great devotee says that this is because of my past misdeeds, my past karmas, and that's why they're coming up to me, then what does he do? He doesn't waste his time. All of us waste most of our time lamenting for that which has already passed. Isn't it true? You think about it. 90% of our life is in the past, 10% is dreaming about the future, and there's nothing left to live for the present. Just think about it. We are haunted like ghosts. We are all walking dead. We walk around with these baggages from the past. And whenever something happens, see, this is just like what happened previously. See, this is what happened to me last time. We live in the past. And when we see someone from the past who has hurt us, that's it. For the whole day we are disturbed. Oh, I can't take it, I can't take it. He doesn't remember you, but you remember him, right? So a devotee doesn't behave that way, because that's wasting his time. Every moment that you think of someone else unfavorably is a moment closer to death. Does anyone say, I am 12 years young? No. Everyone automatically says, I'm 12 years old. Why? Because we are all inching towards death. And yet we waste the time in our past, in dreaming of a future that hasn't come, and we forget to live right now in remembering God. And this is what Brahmaji is saying. Let me now use whatever I can, my mind, my words, my body, my heart, that we all use it in paying obeisances and devotional service to me. And in doing so, let me pray that I become eligible to enter into your kingdom. Keep this prayer in mind, because this is what Parikshit Maharaj is going to do in the next few minutes. One day, Parikshit Maharaj is hunting in the forest. And while hunting, he becomes thirsty and tired. He is looking around for a place, and he comes across this ashram, enters it, and he sees the great sage known as Samika Rishi. The great sage is seated, and he is in prayer, deep meditation. And while he is in meditation, he is not disturbed. The king is desperate for water. He goes up to him and he says, Dear sir, please give me some water. But the sage is so absorbed in transcendental meditation that he cannot hear. He doesn't want to hear, or he doesn't hear. Anyway, Parikshit Maharaj becomes agitated. And this is very unlike a devotee of his stature. But he becomes agitated at that moment. And he gets very upset that I've just come only asking for water. I don't ask for a formal welcome. But even then water is denied. He becomes neglected and he feels upset. When he becomes upset, what does he do? He becomes insulted. He picks up a dead snake which is lying around and he places it with his bow, as you can see, on the shoulder of the sage, like a garland. Very strange thing for a king to do, especially a king who is a devotee. Keep it in mind also. Then what does he do? After that strange incident has occurred, Parikshit Maharaj goes back to his palace. But when he goes back, he asks himself this question: how astonishing it is that I have done such a hideous deed, such a bad deed, a deed which is unbecoming and unbefitting that of a devotee. Why did I do that? Immediately Parikshit Maharaj became remorseful, repented. He realized that what he had done was wrong. He was thirsty, he had reacted, but he still did not blame the rishi. He was upset with the rishi at first, but now he came to his senses and he blamed himself. He did not approve of his own action. And Bhagavatam tells us this very nice point, that very often we also perform actions that we are not very proud of. It happens to the best of us. It happens. But when it happens, the only thing we can do in our hearts is to be genuinely repentant. When someone is genuinely repentant, Bhagavatam tells us, then Krishna hears him. The Supreme Lord, call him by whatever name you please, but he hears the sincere, repentant people. When one is sincere, he will not repeat the same mistake again. That is the test of your sincerity. You can't say, I'm sincerely making mistakes. It just doesn't work that way. You cannot say, I'm very repentant, but I keep making the same mistakes. Something is wrong. That means you have not learned genuinely. You have not felt sorry. And you have not tried to avoid it. Parikshit Maharaj said, it is my mistake and I am to be blamed. And when a good soul does that, then the Lord comes to his protection. How does Krishna come to his protection now? Because things get worse from here. Why? When Samika Rishi's son, young Brahmana boy, is bathing in the waters just very near the hermitage. His name is Shringi. He hears the father's distress because Samika Rishi wakes up from his meditation and sees a dead snake. He wonders what is happening. But the Brahmana, Shringi, is so powerful and pure as a Brahmana that he is able to understand from his vision what has occurred. He becomes touched by anger. And when he is touched by anger, he then decides, Parikshit Maharaj must be cursed. He is a king. He has offended my father. Therefore, I curse him. He touches the waters of the river and he discharges what Bhagavatam calls a thunderbolt of a curse. Sometimes you get angry with someone, we try not to curse them in front, but very often in our hearts, only the good Lord knows how much we are cursing them. Isn't it? But even then, we don't curse someone to curse the way Shringi is about to curse Parikshit Maharaj. At least hopefully we don't do that. But Shringi does it. He says in 7 days, the good king Parikshit Maharaj will die. A snake bird, very unusual creature from Vedic culture, a hybrid between a snake and a bird. A powerful creature will be summoned by the force of my curse. And on the 7th day it will come right into the kingdom where Parikshit Maharaj is staying. He will enter into his palace and he will bite him. When his fangs, which are full of poison, touch the body of Parikshit Maharaj's entire body will be burned to ashes by the force and power of the poison fangs of this snake bird. So at that point of time, the whole world, the whole kingdom hears of this curse, including the father of Shringi. And it is very interesting that Samika Rishi stands up and he tells his son, what you have done today is wrong. You may be my son, I'm grateful that you have tried to protect me, but you are no better off in your character. Why? Because now Samika Rishi says, it was no fault of Parikshit Maharaj that I had treated him that way. I should have been more alert that the great king and devotee had come. But instead, I just chose to be so absorbed in meditation that the poor king, being thirsty, could not even be offered a simple glass of water. See how great Parikshit Maharaj is. When he committed this offense, he blamed himself. When Samika Rishi comes to hear about what has happened on the curse, he doesn't say, well done my dear boy, he deserves it. Parikshit Maharaj really deserves it. I'm very happy you have done this. No. He says, what have you done? He is a great king. In all his life he has been perfect. One moment of a mistake and you have punished him with death. Second time death comes out. Now you have punished him with death. Is it fair? Is it really fair? And at that point of time, we realize that this is how devotees behave. When two devotees have a misunderstanding, what should we do? Misunderstanding may be there, but at the end of the misunderstanding, you should walk away not thinking, yes, you were the one to be blamed. A true devotee is one who walks away thinking, takes two hands to clap, right? It cannot all be my fault, it cannot all be his fault. But let me look at my fault and let me change and make sure that I genuinely repent for what I have done. I cannot control other people and how they behave, but at least I can try to change the way I behave. That's what Parikshit Maharaj tried by being repentant. And that's what Samika Rishi does by saying, my dear son, what you have done is wrong. What you have done is wrong. So now what happens? Parikshit Maharaj, when he returned to the kingdom, he heard, in those days, no internet, no phone calls, no mobile phones. But before he reached his kingdom, he had already known, my God, I only have 7 days. That's all. By the way, how many of us have such fortune to have advance notice? I've given you 7 days advance notice, you're going to leave. Now what do you do with your life? Parikshit Maharaj had that. The moment he heard that, imagine, here is a king who had done nothing but good for his kingdom. Here is a king who Krishna himself saved at the point of death in the womb. Here is a king who was an exalted personality. And now a small fry of a boy curses him and he is to die. Die prematurely. He should grow old as a king and then leave. But now he is going to die prematurely. It is stated very nicely in Bhagavatam that the great devotees of the Lord, they are so powerful that if they want, they can counter curse. You've heard of curses, right? There's a culture called counter cursing. If I get angry with you and I say you're hopeless, then you turn around and say you're equally hopeless. That's curse, counter curse. Okay? Now very often when we have difficulties with people, we have quarrels, what do? That's what we do. The moment someone accuses us of something, instead of accepting it, looking at it and saying maybe, or trying to explain, we quickly shoot out our Brahmastra weapon, which is our counter curse. If I were Parikshit Maharaj, frankly, I would have said, if I'm going to die in 7 days, you die in 1 day. That would have been effective, because at least he dies before I do. And the world will know how powerful I am. But Parikshit Maharaj does not do that. Why? Because of this beautiful verse. The devotees of the Lord are so forbearing. In other words, they are so tolerant that even though they are defamed, even though they are cheated, even though they are cursed, even though they are disturbed, even though they are neglected, or even if they are killed, they will not avenge themselves. They will accept it as the hand of the good God. So remember in your life, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 things will always happen to you wherever you go. I'm not cursing you. I'm just telling you facts. In case you get wrong ideas. The truth of the matter is, in your life, there will always be someone who will defame you. You're doing very nice. You're a good speaker. You're doing very well. Somebody will come and find, you think he's good, but these are all the things that he's not doing. And they will bring you down. Then you have people who will cheat you. They will show you something that is them, and when you come to know them, they are completely different. That is cheating. That is cheating. Then they will disturb you. That I don't have to tell you. We're all disturbed. Then, if they can't do any of this, behind you they will curse you. If you're doing very well, sometimes your mothers used to do this, right? If you did very well in your exam, what will they do? They'll ask you to come and they'll do drishti for you. You remember that? Some of us still get that, isn't it? Just say, oh, too much fame and fortune is on you. Somebody will cast evil eye, tomorrow you will fall sick. Better do this so you'll be better. Why? Because someone may come up to you and say, oh, you are a very wonderful speaker, you're very good, but in the heart you're hopeless. I can't stand it. I'm very envious. And in that way people curse us all the time. And neglect it. Very often, sometimes we are very popular, but a bigger curse out of all this is to be neglected. If you feel you are alone, and you feel everybody else gets along well with everyone else, that neglect feeling is horrible. Sometimes people do cold wars with each other. Do we not do that? I look at you, you look at me, I don't talk, you don't talk. I think you don't like me, you think I don't like me. I don't like me. You don't think you don't like me, I'm getting confused. But at the end of it, what happens? We don't talk to each other, that's cold. But when we are confronted, we say, no, nothing is in my mind, nothing is in my heart. But next day, Cold War continues again. That's how the US and the Soviet Union lived for a long time. And long after all that is